Good morning, Unity. Are you ready? Let's go. Let the harmony of love rise among us. Let the harmony of love rise among us. Let the awakening of souls rise among us. Let it rise. Let the melody of peace rise among us. Let the melody of peace rise among us. Let the freedom of hope rise among us, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let the all joy and wonder rise among us. Let the all joy and wonder rise among us. Let the dances of freedom rise among us. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let it rise. Let it Let the harmony of love rise among us. Let the harmony of love rise among us. And let the joy of our song rise among us. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let the melody of peace rise among us. Let the melody of peace rise among us. Let the fragrance of hope rise among us. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise.
Good morning, Unity of Omaha. Morning. My name's Elisa Choquette. I'm happy to be rising and shining with you today. So hello to everyone here and also in virtual world joining us. We're so happy that you could be with us today. We're going to have a great Sunday, but first we have just a few announcements to make and then we'll move into prayer. So we want to make sure that you are in the know of all the things that are still going on. Yes, even today with all of the distancing. So make sure you're on that email blast. If you're not, email Miss Vicki at unityomaha.org, and she'll get on that for you. Send that to you. Also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Reverend Brenda has us on all those hit places now, so be on the lookout. If you also want to connect after our service today, we have our weekly Zoom meetings. See those familiar faces. If you're joining us for the first time, meet some new faces. So that link for the Zoom meeting will be in our comments towards the end of service, and you just click on that link for us. Our chaplains are still doing their job holding us in prayer. You can email your prayers, though, to prayer@unityomaha.org. And, of course, we always still appreciate your supports because we have so many great things going on. So those love offerings can be mailed in, the old-fashioned way, or we have the donate button. Just go to unityomaha.org, click that donate button, and it's easy peasy, and it lets us continue this ministry, spreading all of the good energy in the world today. So good things happening. And the reason they're happening is because we really take our vision to heart. We want to continue this vision day in and day out for many years to come. So I invite you to speak this vision with me because it is a prayer in and of itself. Please join me. In oneness with universal energy, we celebrate a world united in divine love. That vision really is something, right? Wouldn't that be great to see, especially in times like these today? So we have a way that we want to actively demonstrate that vision through our mission. So please join me in saying this as well. We raise vibrational consciousness through creative teachings, positive prayer, and a nurturing community. Indeed, we do. And we are also based in prayer, and we know that that prayerful energy can also help us to hold that vision together. So I invite you to join me now in a time of prayer. However you're comfortable, move into your space. Take a deep breath in. Lower your gaze or close your eyes as you feel comfortable. And I don't often do this, but I wanted to write down my words for today because I feel like we are in such a time of change, of unknowing, and we've experienced some pretty big losses lately, both in our Unity of Omaha community and, of course, with the news of Ruth Bader Ginsburg this weekend. And so I wanted to create a prayer based on one of her quotes. It says, "Speak your mind, even if your voice shakes." So holding that thought, let's move into prayer. Right now, we may feel shaken. Shaken by change, shaken by loss, shaken by the divide that seems sometimes too expansive to bridge. In these moments, when my voice shakes, may it still reflect my highest self, secure in the peace that despite appearances, we are still one. And from this place of oneness, my heart will not easily offend or be easily offended. May my voice be strong enough to voice my prayers, to voice my needs, to voice my opinions. May it be strong enough to be a voice for others, a voice of compassion, voice for change, of equality, of oneness, of love. When my voice is weakened by fear, confusion, or sorrow, may my silence of today be the very stillness needed to catch my breath for tomorrow. For as it's been said, be still and know I am. I am, you are, we are connected, protected, and projected to still live a life in joy. Yet let this life be inspired by our yesterdays and fueled by our vision for a better tomorrow. And so it is. Amen.
We're going to do our spirit song. Would everyone please stand? We can clap on this one too.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come from living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road. Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives,
moves and breathes within my being. I am the place where God shows up.
Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? But sometimes I wonder and I ponder, only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up.
I am the place,
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes within my being. I am the place where God shows up.
Everybody.
I am the place where God lives,
You are the place.
moves and breathes and has his
We
being.
are the
I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes within my being. I am the place where God shows up.
Everybody, come on back in. Everybody sing.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up.
One more time. I am the place.
I am the place where God
You
lives,
are the
moves and breathes within my being.
place.
I am the place where God shows up.
Today's daily word of inspiration comes from Susan Kimball. And she found this quote for us. She's our prayer chaplain. Never make your home in a place. Make a home for yourself inside your own head. You'll find what you need to furnish it. Memories, friends you can trust, love of learning, and other such things. That way, it will go with you wherever you journey. Tad Williams.
Another summer day has come and gone away in Paris and Rome, and I wanna go home. Maybe it's surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone, and I wanna go home. I miss you, you know. And I've been keeping all the letters that I wrote to you, each one a line or two. I'm fine, baby, how are you? Well, I would send them, but I know that it's just not enough. My words were cold and flat, and you deserve more than that. Another airplane, another sunny place. I'm lucky, I know, but I wanna go home. Oh, I gotta go home. Let me go home. I'm just too far from where you are. I wanna come home. and I feel just like I'm living someone else's life. It's like I just stepped outside when everything was going right. And I know just why you could not come along with me. That this was not your dream, but you always believed in me. Another winter day has come and gone away, in even Paris and Rome, and I wanna go home. Oh, let me go home. And I'm surrounded by a million people, I still feel alone. Oh, let me go home. I miss you, you know. Let me go home. I've had my run, baby, I'm done. I gotta go home. Let me go home. It'll all be all right. I'll be home tonight. I'm coming back home.
Thank you, guys. And don't we always feel like that sometimes? We want to go home, whatever that means to us as individuals. It means so many different things. So our affirmation for this month is, my search for home is already mapped. I am is the way written on my heart. So let's see. Where do I want to start with this? You know, today we're going to talk about finding home. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes it is. But you never know. Rumi said that if light is in your heart, you will find your way home. If light is in your heart. Because that's the place. Remember a couple of weeks ago I talked about in Charles Fillmore referring to the heart space as that abode of God, that place of divine connection, that point of who we are as spiritual beings. Our birds are back. I love this slide because have any of you ever been on a trail and there were trail markers? Wouldn't it be nice if we had trail markers on our journey that we could always find our way back to our heart? You know, it's just great. I love this because I love that marker and a way of having a guide. You know, it's interesting because I was thinking about the talk today and finding your way home and having that natural GPS, God positioning system. So we have that. And I remembered back in ancient times back before we had smartphones, ancient times back before we had map apps, you know, when there was this thing that folded up and, you know, it was almost like folding a fitted sheet, trying to get that thing folded back up the right way, called a map. But during that time, in a previous life experience of mine, I had a company and I had clients in 5 states. And so I did a lot of driving. And inevitably, darn it, I would get new clients. And when I would get those new clients, I'd have to go to their town, to their state, to their town, and see them. And what was so nice about it was, as I would go, I would get to the edge of town, and I would have a map, but it's like, okay, I'm just going to follow my instincts. And inevitably, I would drive right up to their door. Because I had been practicing that, tuning in, so long and so well. I would have somebody with me, and they would say, well, do you know where we're going? No. Well, do you want me to get the map? No. And I'd say, we're supposed to turn here. How did you know that? I just did. And the next thing you know, we were pulling up in front. It was the coolest thing, and it freaked a lot of people out. Now, can I do it today? No. Just like today, I can't do math in my head as quickly as I used to because we get dependent on things like calculators and map apps, right? And so those intuitive muscles, those wisdom muscles that we have, they get weakened. And if we don't use it, what happens? We lose it. That's right. So this whole thing about finding our way home, it's a point of practice. We have to practice it and work on it and practice it. You know, in the book of Isaiah, as a matter of fact, Isaiah 30, verse 21, it says, whether you turn to the right or when you turn to the left, your ears shall hear the word behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. And what this is saying to us is, no matter how we get off track, no matter what path we head down, whether it be right or wrong or indifferent, if we'll just get still. Just get still and listen. There will be guidance saying, no, this is the way. Just walk this way. This is the way. Follow your guidance this way. Listen to that voice. Now, I promise you, it's interesting because I'm part of the admissions team on ministerial paths, and then also those who do licensed teacher, they have to take a psychological, and then they have to go through an hour of psychotherapy with a therapist. And believe me, we've had to find therapists who were, understanding that we as Unitics talk about the fact that we hear that small voice telling us which way to go and what's wise and all that. So believe me, you're not crazy when you hear that little voice. There's nothing wrong, but just trust it and know and practice. Because the more we practice tuning in to that little voice, the more we keep quiet, the more we are still and listen, the more we'll hear that little voice guiding us, telling us how to go. And that's always bringing us back home. Like the affirmation, I am is written in our hearts and guides our way. So as you're going through journey, look for those markers, look for those signs. So H. Emily Cady wrote this. And this is something that is kind of interesting, and I've always said that my goal is to work myself out of a job. That would be the ideal thing for any minister. Books and lectures are good. Teachers are good. But you must learn for yourself that the Christ light lives in you, that within you is your light and life and all. When you have once grasped this beyond a doubt with the intellect, you cease looking to teachers to bring you spiritual insight, because that Christ lives in you. Spirit itself must reveal to you. Now, through the years, and this to me this is it. Through the years, if you come to my office, you see like 4 bookcases full of books. I've attended workshops and seminars and classes and all of those things. And it's great information. But does anybody out there, do I hold the key for your Christ light? I don't. No teacher, no book, nothing is going to replace that indwelling spirit that is there to guide you, support you, nurture you, and comfort you. Because that's where it is. It's within us. So I caution you to about chasing every new thing. I caution you to head down this. And we see it. Growing up, I saw it. I had friends while I was in high school and college, and they would follow this fad or that fad, or they would go to this church for a few days, for a few weeks, and then they'll go over here because they were looking. Now, we in Unity, we're called seekers of truth. But everything, every truth that we want is right here. It's right here. But we have a tendency to be looking out there somewhere. The root of happiness is where? Right here. But how many of us go running all over the countryside looking for happiness? Because something out there is going to make us happy, right? No. It might put us in a state where we are generating happiness for a short time. But if we put all of our eggs in that basket that's outside of us, eventually they're going to fall apart, and we're still going to be left with just us. So because of this, I encourage us to really get a firm grasp on the truth of who we are. Really get a firm grasp that it is within us that the light is shining. It is within us that the words of wisdom are written. And that's where home is. You know, I went last week, and I wasn't sure I was going to share this, but I am. Last week, I took some little spiritual renewal time. Because while I was on sabbatical, I was working and doing a lot of clearing and cleaning and things like that, internally and externally. But I wound up back in my mountains, in the mountains of East Tennessee, and up around Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge and on up into the park and all of that. And it was interesting because as I thought back, I always felt like that was a very welcoming, a very warm place to be with the people. You know, it's a tourist area, and so it's their livelihood to be. And what I have to tell you is my experience in the mountains this time was totally different. Because I believe I went with the expectation of my heart being filled, because it usually is when I see those mountains. It's just a place of, oh, yes. Like my whole body exhales. But it was so different because what I saw was an area that has become so politicized that it ruined the beauty. And it was just, you know, I thought when I retire, that's where I want to go back to. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think so. It was that intense. It was that intense. And what kept going through my mind is you can't go back home. You can't go back home. You know, the mountains are still beautiful. When I'm in the mountains or by the stream and I'm just there, it's one thing. But for some reason, when we're on this planet, we have to be in community. And that community I didn't resonate with it. So it's not right for us to look to others or have expectations. And so now where I am is, mountains are good, but maybe I just need to visit. Go through, carry my energy. And those of you who know me know that I can be quick-witted and say things that, you know, pretty sharp. And I bit my tongue so many times that it was like I thought it was going to fall off by the end of the trip because of some of the things that were being said. One of the things that I struggled with were people putting a politician's name in the same sentence with Jesus. And it just turned my stomach. And it was everything I could do not to say, how can you put anyone's name in that same category and call it good? It just broke my heart. And I did get, though, to spend some time sitting by a mountain stream. I did get to spend some time allowing that energy to flow and bring me back into my center. But what did I have to remember before that happened? That it's right here all along. It's not out there. It's not across the prairies, across the plains, in the mountains. It's not in this individual or that individual, but it is right here all the time. And how do we get there? Very good, Demora. We do this. we make that connection. We bring it into this place. We remember who we are. We remember that right here is what counts. We know that this is where our light shines. This is where our generator of happiness and joy and love resides. We can have companions, we can have partners, we can have family. And they may be a representation of that, but the truth of that is right here. And this is really the only place that we can depend on it always being. So we get there through a time of meditation. And so what I would like for us to do is I would like for us to join. And I want to do a little bit longer meditation, so Ken, just be ready, honey. I want to take a little bit longer time of meditation for us to connect. So if you would, go ahead and allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself to breathe. Breathe deeply into that heart space. Do you see that light that's shining for you? Do you feel that peace that is generating from the center of your chest, from the solar plexus? Because that peace is available to us at all times. As we continue to be connected with that heart space, with that divine home, we immerse ourselves in that beautiful white light, that warm, radiant glow. And in that warmth, we experience harmony and peace. In that warmth, we experience love beyond understanding, beyond any form of conditions. In that heart connection, that place, that abode of all that is divine, of all that is holy, we experience joy. Everything that we need is right there. And when we get quiet, when we get still, when we give the monkeys a free rein to leave, to take a vacation from our minds, and we hear that small voice saying, "Here is your path. Follow it." And knowing that that path always leads us right to the center of our divine nature. feel the warmth of that love, that divine love. Allow it to fill you, erasing any fears, any doubts. Bringing about that feeling of truth within you. Empowering the strength of who you are. Shining on the wisdom of your being. And as days come and go, and you move into this space, into this divine consciousness connection, the things that trouble you flow past you like a stream of water. For you are safe in that harbor of God. So I invite you. I invite you to continue these thoughts, continue this heart connection as we move into a few moments of silence. And as we are collectively in our heart space, we allow that warmth, that brightness to shine, to fill every cell of our being, to create a glow around us. For we know in times like these, sometimes we have to be the light for others. But first, we need to master being the light for ourselves. Take a few deep breaths. And I invite you back into this time, into this space, into this moment. And as you come back into this, I invite you to come back into this, knowing that you always have that roadmap. You always have that direct path home. And for this, we are blessed and we are grateful. And so it is. Amen. And that was one of the streams. I don't know if you guys saw that up there. There it is. A place of cleansing. So it's now time for our walk of abundance. So I encourage you, to support this ministry, support the mission and the vision of who we are, support us as we continue to look at new ways to connect and bring this family of spirit to you on a more regular basis, on other basis during the week. And so would you join me, those of you in this room, say this with me. Those of you at home, you can say this with us as well. I connect with the home of my being and share the abundance of my life. Doesn't that feel good? Isn't that truth of who we are? All right, Demora, take us. Yeah, I was going to say,
Will,
can you get the lights down a little bit?
Pull the lights
Demora's
down.
going to do the song, actually Jack Fowler, right? Jack Fowler's song, In the Silence. So be with this as you are contemplating and preparing your offering.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. From a world filled with chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments, and I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. From a world filled with chaos and noise, so I wait for these precious moments, and I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence. So I wait for these precious moments, and I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence
You can clap. It's okay. Isn't that a beautiful song? And doesn't it just take us right to what we were talking about? Because that's where we find our true self, is when we're in the silence into that connection. So, and I did pull an affirmation for everybody. So, for those of you at home, here's your affirmation. I wake to new appreciation of myself and every being. Amen. Isn't that perfect? Oh. All right. So let me just take a moment. I want to bless. And please also remember that we are continuously taking in food and donations for the little pantry. And know that as we get closer to Thanksgiving, we want to start stepping it up even more for those individuals who don't have enough. And so we want to make sure and serve our community. So if you're by here or come by, put food in the pantry. If you want to send a check, just put in the memo line, it's for the little pantry, and we'll know that. So just join me as we connect our hearts and we bless the tithes, gifts, and offerings that will come into this place today and that will be coming electronically and through the mail, knowing that each of those gifts, those tithes, those offerings are given in that energy of love, and that as they come in love, they go out in love. And we are blessed, and so it is. So join me together, if we will, for the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me.
I am that light.
The love of God enfolds me.
I am that love.
The power of God protects me.
I am that power.
The presence of God watches over me.
I am that presence.
Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Have a blessed week. Look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Let the harmony of love rise among us. Let the harmony of love rise among us. Let the awakening of souls rise among us. Let it rise. Let the melody of peace rise among us. Let the melody of peace rise among us. Let the freedom of hope rise among us, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let the all joy and wonder rise among us. Let the all joy and wonder rise among us. Let the dances of freedom rise among us. Let it rise.
Oh, let it rise.
Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let it rise. Let it rise. Let the harmony of love rise among us. Let the harmony of love rise among us. And let the joy of our song rise among us. Let it rise.
Oh, let it rise.
Oh, let it rise.
Let it rise.
Oh, let it rise. Let the melody of peace rise among us. Let the melody of peace rise among us. Let the